Chiefs Kingdom, your Kansas City Chiefs are officially 2-0 after an ugly, scrappy game at Arrowhead Stadium against the Chargers on Thursday night. It was a wild one, but at times it was pretty boring as well. Mike, what did you think about the whole thing?
It was a roller coaster ride. We come out looking like we were going to just roll all over them, and then the play calling got in the way, and then some of the officials got in the way, and then our defense stepped up finally, and that was the way it ended.
Guys, make sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the bell so you get notifications when we come out with new content. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, so let's just go over our top 5 observations from the game. I'll roll it out with number 1, which was the coaching was pretty poor in this game. The play calling was really bad. We abandoned the run game too early. Clock management, the end was bad. The defensive scheme was bad. I feel like overall the game plan just wasn't that great.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. We come out looking like we were going to pound the ball. Clyde looked good. The offensive line looked good. We were opening holes. And then all of a sudden, we start throwing the ball everywhere. Clock management got bad, put us in bad situations. We kept getting these short third downs and fourth downs, and we kept running stupid plays and punting. Then we get in the fourth quarter. We go back to Clyde there at the end of the game. It should be putting the game away, and Andy Reid starts throwing the ball again, and we have to take the field goal. We just tried to screw that up.
Yeah, so one of the keys that we had to win in this game was to not squander opportunities early, and that's exactly what happened. First drive of the game, pounded the ball all the way down the field to have a third and short, and they run some kind of a weird handoff to McCole Hardman where Travis Kelce's trying to block Nick Bosa. Terrible play call, and that stopped the drive right dead in its tracks, and then the game turned from there.
Yeah, I think Bosa was his first block. I think he was going to chip Bosa and then try to get to the secondary. And it's like you chip Bosa. That was our game plan, was to let Bosa versus Miko one-on-one. That's stupid.
Right. And like we were saying, they abandoned the run game way too early. Clyde actually averaged 9.3 yards per carry tonight. Granted, he did have that 52 yarder that probably inflated that. But at the same time, the running game was wide open. It was open all night for him and McKinnon. Pacheco didn't really get in the mix that much. They only gave him 2 carries. But the running game was great, but of course, Andy Reid abandoned that early, and it got us in some weird situations. But let's move on to the number 2 observation that we had from the game. Our offensive line looked pretty rough. Granted, the run game was pretty good, and the guys were chunking some off, but overall, pass protection was pretty crappy.
Yeah, I thought Mahomes got hit way too many times. He was having to scramble the pocket too many times. There was a bad call there with Wiley where they said Wiley pushed Joey Bosa into his legs, which was a complete nonsense call. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, other than that, I thought for the first 3 quarters of the game, the offensive line looked bad. And I actually thought the defensive line didn't do all that well the first 3 quarters of the game either. I thought the trenches was killing us at least up till halftime. In the second half, they kind of got it together a little better.
Yeah, so another key that we had to win in this game was the offensive line holding that front 4. That way they had to send blitz. That way Mahomes could kind of pick it apart, which they did blitz a lot, and we missed blocking those blitzes. So Mahomes actually got hit quite a bit. But even without the blitz going, the front 4 was still getting pressure on Mahomes, and it was allowing them to have more guys in coverage and muddied it up. There was a couple of balls that Mahomes threw that should have been intercepted that weren't, so we got lucky with that. But once again, they missed on a key that we had to win in the game.
Yeah, so I think getting into number 3 here, I think we got to look at the back end a little bit. Watson eventually did make that amazing pick 6 for 100 some yards and looked good. But up till then, all those like little zone coverages we were playing and all that soft, it almost looked like we were playing prevent defense for the entire 3 quarters. It looked really bad. Like I thought Fenton looked horrible today. He get up a lot of bad penalties. I just thought our coverage was a little too soft. And I thought that was something we had said too, that we have to play those receivers tight and sticky. And we didn't do that at all the first 3 quarters.
Right. Like I mentioned earlier, I think the defensive scheme was pretty bad. A lot of soft zone coverage, and I think it was keeping those cornerbacks in weird positions. Even on the plays where they played man-to-man coverage, there was some sticky coverage with Snead, Fenton, and Jalen Watson, but Herbert was hitting those passes on a dime. Mike Williams was making amazing catches, so it really wasn't doing them a whole lot of good. And I noticed that Snead let up a lot of catches, and we talked about this last year. Snead actually probably let up more catches than anyone in the league. Maybe he was like pretty high up there, and that continued today. So I really hope to see some more from the secondary moving forward.
Yeah, so getting into number 4 here, we said last time that the offense needs to take advantage of scoring early and often to keep the bad calls out of it because this was a Thursday night game and they wanted it to be close. Well, at first, it looked like we were going to, but right off the rip, the Chiefs start squandering scoring opportunities. And Andy Reid and the offense did that all night long, even all the way up to the last field goal we had to kick. We should have had the ball on the ground, taking out the whole clock, and probably punching it in for 7 there. So we definitely did not do that.
No, there were several fourth and short opportunities that we probably could have went for and made. It's pretty sad that we don't trust the offense that we have with fourth and inches, because on the flip side of it, you have Staley over there who always has his team going for it on fourth, which we didn't see that as much tonight. But I mean, Andy Reid looked like he was terrified to even go for half a yard.
Well, it kind of works out in our favor because on the third and short yardage beforehand, they called a stupid play every single time that resulted in nothing. So who wants to go on fourth down when you can't run it on third down?
Right, but it's all about the play calling to me. I feel like every time they had an opportunity to convert a third and short, it was some kind of a weird cutesy play call that just was not the right thing to do.
Right. And so we said if you don't take advantage, the officials can start getting in the way. We've seen that for a few times, actually. We've seen that stupid call on Wiley where they just made that up and said Wiley throws Bosa into his shins, which was a complete farce. They missed a really bad pass interference call where it should have been pass interference, and they called it before the ball was thrown. And Mahomes had released the ball like 3 seconds before the dude like rips MVS down, I believe is who it was. So
Yeah.
yeah, there was plenty of bad calls there that they were missing, which is exactly what we said. If you put it in the officials' hands, they will miss calls. That's all there is to it. So it almost bit us on the butt, but we got away with it.
Okay, and the fifth observation from the game was that we did overcome the injuries that we had. McDuffie was out. Obviously, we got Keenan Allen out of the game as well, so it wasn't that bad. Despite all of the soft zone coverage and the pitch and catch for the Chargers, the guys did show up when needed. Jalen Watson with that huge interception that totally flipped the script. That was the game winner for me right there, and I've never been so happy to be wrong about a draft pick in my life. I gave him a hard way to go. I didn't even think he's going to make this 53 man. And here he is in the second week in a critical game, making the biggest play.
Yeah, I thought Jalen Watson overall looked pretty good today. He had flashes where, he looked like a rookie, but like you said, he stepped up when it counted most. He had a 101-yard touchdown return, I think. He looked really good. I told Steve while we were watching the game, I was like, that dude that called you out, he's going to come on here and roast you this week. And Steve said, bring it on.
Yeah, please do. It's much deserved. And I hope that what I had to say had something to do with him turning it on, making this team and looking good in week 2. I'll take some credit for that. But Amendola, the kicker that we signed to fill in for Butker, he was perfect tonight. So that was huge for us, right, Mike?
Yeah, I think overcoming Butker's ankle injury with Amendola, he stepped up. He had to hit that field goal at the end. He put it right through the uprights. He never flinched on an extra point. He done everything he had to do, and it looked good. Just a credit to them going out and finding somebody on short notice. So going back to the video before this, we had the top 5 keys to victory Friday, and let's see how many that the Chiefs got right out of the top 5 and what our result was. Number 1, we said that we have to make Herbert feel uncomfortable and to watch out for his mobility. For the most part, we did pretty good with that one. I give that one a check because we got to him in the fourth quarter when it counted. I'll give that one a check.
Right. And he was actually hurt, and props to him for staying in the game and making things happen. But I feel like his coach and that organization that was a bad look for them. That was absolutely terrible. The kid was obviously hurt. He is your franchise, and you're so worried about winning a week 2 game against the Chiefs that you risked him getting hurt even further. And I thought that was pathetic.
Right. I feel like probably Herbert said he wanted to go back in, but if that would have been on the flip side, Mahomes, I would have been irate at Andy Reid and the coaching staff.
Absolutely. I know it's an important conference game, but it is week 2. It's not going to make or break your season. And that was just silly to me.
Okay, so getting in number 2, we said we had to contain Eckler and the screen game. For the most part, we did that. He did slip out of the backfield. There was a few other players that got off in the screen game. Willie Gay, he had so many opportunities to step up and be huge, and he only made like 1 or 2 decent plays, but he missed on some big plays. One was that hit on Eckler that he just totally whiffed on, and they come down and scored. So Willie was rough tonight. He even dropped an interception at one point. I wish he could have stepped up a little harder.
Yeah, this was a really good opportunity for Willie Gay to have his coming out party. It's a big linebacker in the NFL on the national stage, all these good opportunities, and he was in the right positions, but he was missing tackles like crazy. And like you said, he dropped an interception. I feel like it was just sloppy. If he could have tightened that up, he could have a monster night.
Right. We said Willie could have had a big game. It was set up for him. He kind of dropped the ball a little bit, but he did make a few plays. It was solid. I'll go ahead and give us a check mark for that one. I think we contained Eckler pretty well.
We did contain that screen game pretty well. It got us a couple times, but overall we shut it down.
Okay, so we talked about being able to overcome injuries as one of our keys. And we did that. Amendola looked pretty good, and Jalen Watson covered in for McDuffie pretty well. I'll give that one a check mark. The two we fell flat on, and I have to believe you guys are going to agree with us. Our offensive line, we said that we must stop their front four from getting pressure. That did not happen. I thought our front four struggled at times. I thought we looked lost at times picking up blitzes. Ultimately, we got it together enough to get the dub, but I'm going to go ahead and say that's a no. And then the don't squander opportunities when the game's close. We obviously did that. I think play calling was big. We never seemed to get in rhythm. We couldn't get our players in the rhythm. We couldn't get Clyde in the rhythm. Mahomes looked a little crazy at sometimes because he couldn't settle in. So I give that one a big fat no too. But that gives us 3 for the yes, 2 for the no, and that resulted in a very close, squeaky win. So I think we did what we had to do to win. We did just enough.
Yeah, if they could have come through on those other 2 keys, it would have probably been a comfortable victory. But yeah, they definitely missed out on those.
Okay, so let's jump into players of the game, Steve. Offensive player of the game, who are you going to give it to?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, has to be your offensive player of the game. He made the big plays when it counted. He looked good in the passing game, and he was good in the running game. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Clyde.
Yeah, we said we thought it was going to be Kelce. Kelce was actually kept in check a lot today, to be honest. A lot could be play calling as well. Maybe not so much Kelce's problem. But, yeah, I do believe that you have to give it to Clyde. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, Kelce was actually held to just 5 receptions for 51 yards, but I know that was the Chargers' game plan, was to shut down Kelce. It was obvious they were beating on him the whole game. That ridiculous power slam by Derwin James that should have been a flag, totally unnecessary and just absolutely bad look for Derwin James. But it is what it is, and I think Clyde was the man.
Okay, so defensive MVP, we said it was going to be Chris Jones. We said he was going to have 2 sacks. He got 2 sacks, and he would have been the defensive MVP. But I think I'm going to go ahead and give it to the rookie, Watts Island, Jalen Watson, with that 100, maybe 101. I have to check. It
was 99.
Okay, a 99-yard pick 6 in a critical situation. He took 6 points off their scoreboard, put it on ours. That was the play of the game by far. He won us the game. Congratulations, Jalen Watson.
Yeah, absolutely. That was where the game flipped. That's what won us the game. So definitely MVP for Jalen Watson.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap it up for the day. Steve, do you got anything else for him?
Only thing I have is let's hope the coaching staff gets their head on a little more straight, because I feel like they kept Patrick Mahomes out of rhythm all night. They made that offense look very inefficient. They abandoned the run game early. The clock management was terrible at the end. It just looked really, really rough. So let's hope it was just an early season rust or something like that. But guys, you have to get it together.
Yeah, man. So guys, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. A super thanks gets you some stickers if it's over $4.99, or you get a little keychain. But yeah, Chiefs are 2-0 in the division, baby. We're sitting at top of the AFC West. It's still our division. We're still kings of the hill.
Absolutely. All chiefed up out. See you next time.
See you guys later.
There goes a sight from my soul.